Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's news and public affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide. Live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the Go.
Good morning, I am Jean Ray Henderson and this is our special edition of Caritas News on the Go.
Caritas Philippines is hosting several events with Caritas Asia, and what better way to do a preview of what's happening behind the scenes than to give you the man himself. Previously he's from Caritas Philippines and now the regional coordinator of Caritas Asia, Mr. Zar Gomez. Good morning, Kuya Zar.
Good morning, Jing. Good morning, everyone. And greetings from Caritas Asia.
Yes, we are very excited. This is the first time that you'll be with us at Caritas News on the Go. Ano yung ginawa mo muna po for Caritas Philippines when you were here?
I was the country program head of Caritas Philippines. I was with Caritas Philippines for almost 11 years, or actually almost 12 years.
Wow!
I left in 2012, I think, to go join the regional office in Bangkok.
Wow! 12 long years with Caritas Philippines. And then when you went to Caritas Asia, you've become the regional coordinator, dire-diretso.
That's right.
Wow! Okay, now talking about the regional meetings that we are having in the Philippines, ano po yung mga nangyayari dito?
We're having 3 meetings here. One is for the meeting of the Regional Finance Advisory Committee, which is the Finance Advisory Board of Caritas Asia, the whole of the region. Then we have the Localization and Safeguarding Committee, which is also a regional committee for the region. They're having 2 meetings now. They had just had their meeting yesterday.
Okay.
And then now we are going to have a regional commission meeting, which is like the board meeting of Caritas Asia. And it's good that we are here because Father Tony, your executive secretary, is part of the board of Caritas Asia, and we're glad to be here to talk about the region. So,
yes, we are so glad to be hosting these events with Caritas Asia. Pero Kuya, what is now the priority? So many things have been happening with Caritas Asia, with the region. Ano yung regional priorities natin?
Okay. We just recently finished our strategic planning process, which was done virtually because unfortunately we could not do it face-to-face, but we were just finished with that. And so now from having 6 strategic priorities in the past, we narrowed it down to the 3 strategic priorities. But these 3 also encapsulates all the other 6 strategic priorities that we previously had. So the first strategic priority is really to inspire care for creation by practicing servant love-based leadership.
Okay.
The second one is on reducing impact of disasters through emergency preparedness and response across Asia. And the third is on upholding dignity of the human person through institutional development and capacity strengthening. So these are the 3 priorities that we are holding now in the region. And from here, we really strive to make sure that the 25 member organizations of Caritas Asia will have our own development also, because Caritas Asia is actually mandated to look after the 25 member organizations of the region. Yes,
opo. Pero just like Caritas Philippines, you were mandated to look after the 85 dioceses. Ano po? Pero what pushed the regional office to have these 3 priorities? Ano yung mga main issues po that we have in the region that made us do these 3?
Okay. Actually, we consulted all our stakeholders, including the 25 member organizations, the Caritas Internationalist global partners, and also the other institutions that are somehow associated with Caritas Asia. We also consulted the Federation of Asian Bishops Conferences, which is also now based in Bangkok from Hong Kong.
Opo.
So we consulted them and asked them, what do you think would be the priorities of the region? And all our 25 member organizations suggested several items. Then we had a person who helped us in identifying, because we have a lot of we identified a lot of priorities, but we have to also narrow it down to just 3. So then after consulting the region or our stakeholders, we came up with these 3 strategic priorities that somehow embody all the other priorities, relevant priorities in the region. So we came up with these three.
Okay. Ayan. So, with the three priorities of the region, how are we also ensuring po is that we are strengthening the collaboration between all the Caritas member organizations, the 25?
Yes. Well, we have our communications also.
Okay.
So one of the things that we are doing in the region is really to communicate with all the 25 member organizations, and if whenever needed, link them up to the other member organizations outside of Asia, or link them up with other global partners. But our main task is really to ensure that the member organizations in 25 countries, including Caritas Philippines, will have its way of linking with the Caritas Internationalist global family. So whenever there is a communication from CI, of course sometimes CI goes directly also to the 25, but sometimes they go through us also and ensure that we disseminate the information to the 25 member organizations. So we maintain communications at the regional level through emails, through other social media means, or through other means of communication. That's one of the primary mandates we are also doing.
Wow. And for the last several years that I've been with Caritas Philippines, we're really seeing and feeling how important communication really is with Caritas Asia, and how this has helped in ensuring that everybody is coordinated and synchronized in whatever we are doing at the local Caritas. Kuya, with everything that you have done for the last 10 years at Caritas Asia, what's been the most meaningful?
Oh, there's been a lot of things that are really meaningful for us, because I think when we came into Caritas Asia, when I came into Caritas Asia, it was a time when Caritas Asia and the then Asia Partnership for Human Development merged together, and the surviving entity was Caritas Asia. So we really started somehow from scratch. And then from that scratch, we now have these good programs, and we have organized a lot of things for the region, particularly for the regional members of Caritas Asia. So what has been meaningful is the fact that I think these 25 member organizations are really having this good relationship. They are very cooperative also, and very every time we come to them, they're very responsive to the needs of the region. So I think that's the most meaningful, because we have been able to establish that good relationship among and between the 25 member organizations. So for me, I think that would be the most relevant
and meaningful. Lastly, can you share a message for the Filipino people with regards to how not only Caritas Asia but the whole Confederation is actually really trying to respond to the needs of our communities in the peripheries?
Siguro unang-una po, we would like to say thank you to Caritas Philippines. It's been really a great experience to come back to Caritas Philippines. I was here 20 years ago, so it's been a good experience. So maraming salamat po sa Caritas Philippines for hosting these meetings that we are having here in Caritas Philippines, particularly in the BEC Center. You call it still BEC Center?
The Social Action Center
Social
already.
Action Center. So maraming salamat. And we really hope that you continue your good works, because actually Caritas Philippines is also one of the leading Caritas organizations in Asia, leading in a sense that you do have a lot of programs, you do have a lot of good people, if not all of them are good. So congratulations on that. So keep up the good work, and continue to inspire the other member organizations in Asia. Your works are actually an inspiration to the region, because many of the works of Caritas Philippines are being featured in not just the region in Asia, but also at the Caritas Internationalist level. So that alone, being myself a Filipino, is already a source of pride for us. So my message is really to continue the good works, to continue journeying with the people, the communities in the Philippines particularly, and ensuring that their voices are heard globally, nationally, or even at the regional level and in Asia. And I'm sure with Jing and the other team, Sai, this will be done again in a manner that's really been effective. So thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you.
Nakasama po natin Mr. Zar Gomez, ang Regional Coordinator ng Caritas Asia. This is Caritas News on the Go.
Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's news and public affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide. Live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the Go.
We are very privileged that the president of Caritas Asia is here with us live in our program, Dr. Alo De Rosario. Good morning, Dr. Alo, and welcome to Caritas Philippines.
Thank you. Good morning to you as well. I'm very happy to be here with you. I am enjoying my stay.
Ay, that's good to know, Dr. Alo, because we have prepared a lot. Joke.
Yeah, okay,
for the stay of
I can see
Caritas
that.
Asia. Yes, Filipinos are known for being hospitable, so we wanted to live up to that expectation. But kidding aside, we really are very happy that Caritas Asia is with us, and then we are also very happy that we are seeing you enjoy your stay, especially here in our centers in Tagaytay. But that's not why we are here, Dr. Alo. We wanted to ask you more about things surrounding Caritas Asia, because especially now that the region is facing so many things, like we have issues on climate change, on ecology, we have issues on politics that also affect our local the local Caritas organizations especially. But more so, how are we in terms of the priorities of Caritas Asia in connection or in relation with the individual Caritas organizations in the region?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak before you, and also thanks to the listener. I think this visit is very special for me because I have been to Philippines, different cities for various purposes, like in the past APSD, Asia Partnership for Human Development, meeting of Asian Development Bank, celebration of Radio Veritas, and so many other things. But this time I am for Caritas Asia. I used to work for Caritas Bangladesh for
Yes,
several years,
correct.
more than 30 years, and for the last 3 years I have been the president, and as a president I have the opportunity to learn from different contexts, different countries, different people. Every time I meet, every time I visit, I learn.
Yes.
So, Asia has been going through many challenges like climate change, like conflict, like COVID.
Yeah.
So, despite all challenges, we were able to show our solidarity, our support, our concern, and also helping each other in many different ways throughout our member organization in 25 Asian countries and beyond that.
Yeah.
So our role is to build the capacity of our partners so that can be more effective in showing their love and concern, and also to make kind of a hope in the hopeless situation. So whenever there is a humanitarian need following man-made or natural calamities, when there is a kind of a crisis, as I said, 3 crises, we are there. And sometimes we are there together to make a difference. So I think in the area of communication, in the area of capacity building, in the area of response to the change of the climate, and what is the best so that suffering of the people can be reduced. So we are working together, learning together, journeying together in the interest of mutual kind of a support and concern.
And speaking of this,
During the last 3 years of your leadership, what has been the most challenging?
I think most challenging situation was that some of the countries like Myanmar, the situation there, a lot of people are forcibly displaced
Yeah.
from their country. They went to different countries like Bangladesh,
Yeah.
and there is also cases in Sri Lanka. There was kind of a earthquake in Nepal,
Yeah.
and also the situation Afghanistan. Afghanistan, it is also like a conflict situations. And then besides that, nowadays, because of war, Ukraine and Russia, the global crisis, the global inflation, and food, fuel, in every respect, and also the most of all was the COVID one,
Yeah.
because that was the time that no communication, no movement, in the kind of the social isolation, and also, but still we were active. We have a good learning from the situation also, because we know how to use more the technology.
Yeah.
The virtual presence has been a reality. Communication has been a reality. So I think yes, we have learned a lot to adapt to the new situation and also to effective in the new situation.
And would you say that Caritas Asia has been effective in its response to these global events?
Always.
Always. How?
Always. And also even in the very very critical moment, because everywhere we have local presence, and our people are always concerned and active to support each other, following the teaching of the church and following the gospel values. They love each other, they love their neighbor. And you see the case of Philippines, where this kindness center has been a good example for others to learn. You see the more than 60,000 volunteers in India. They have been helping all the people affected, not only natural calamities but also the COVID time.
Yeah.
So these are the volunteers. They are giving their time. They are sacrificing their kind of a time and also putting their knowledge and resources to make a difference in India. So is the case. People living the border, for the migrants, for the people who are trafficked during the situation like this. So everywhere, even in Bangladesh, with the Rohingya people recently, with the flood affected people, there are a lot of volunteers and Caritas staff are active. Even in Afghanistan, where such presence is very negligent, but such organization, religious congregation are active there.
So, what has been the most challenging in terms of, especially when during the time of pandemic, during the time when almost all the natural disasters are happening especially in Asia. So, how did we respond?
Initially, is the communication is the big problem, but within hour or within days we can manage that. Then comes the resources. Resources meaning both human and also financial and other non-food items. But it has been possible through the support of our first of all local people. They are the main actors from the very beginning. Then support from our partners from Europe and other countries, and also through the coordination of our Holy Father in Vatican, who has been very inspiring and active, calling others to support. So we have been receiving a lot of support through our European, American, and partners from Australia and other countries. Sometimes they offer us human resources, sometimes they give us financial resources, and also sometimes kind of a support in the terms of knowledge. so that we can be active. It means it's a global family and global responsibility and working together who are in a kind of a difficult situation because of different kind of a crisis moment.
Would you say that during this time of global crisis, multiple crises at that point, we have the pandemic, we have the war, we have political conflicts, we have natural disasters happening all over. Would you say, Dr. Alo, that this is the time where the church has been very alive?
Sometimes it has been the only church by the side of the people. They are the first one to reach and they are the last one to leave. Sometimes they do not leave, they stay. They continue to stay because development is a process. And then in this process, you need accompaniment. For this accompaniment and also for this integral human development, you will have to be with them for a longer time. So it is not like a project, it will start, it will end. It is a process, so you will be with them and you will be one of them and you will be learning from them. You see, there is a Chinese proverb saying, go to people, stay with them, live with them, learn from them, start from the knowledge what they have, and then continue with them. At the end of the day, the people will say, we have done it. So they have the ownership. So for that ownership, you need participation, you need accompaniment. So church has been playing that role for many years.
For the longest time.
The longest time, and also in the periphery where nobody is there. I can tell a story in the coastal area of Bangladesh, and I was with our president bishop visiting after one of the cyclone. We have cyclone every year almost.
Yes.
So cyclone, and we offered them non-food items, then also other shelter programs and all these things. And it was the third month of the cyclone. And then people, one of them very elderly, came to us and saying that, okay, when there was cyclone, we saw many people, many journalists, but nowadays only 3 or 4 organizations. And when you come after 1 or 2 years, you will find only Caritas Bangladesh. Other all will be gone. So some are seasonal
Yes.
for various reasons. It's still good that they were there, but I think Caritas in every country, church in every country, they are by the side of the people when they need them. And they also become part of them.
And I think that's the main reason in the meat of what the synod of Pope Francis has been the reason why we do the synod, and for the most part, what you have been saying, Dr. Alo, has been the reflection of the results of the synod, especially here in the Philippines. So does this mean that the church would need to strengthen the way how we are providing assistance to our communities?
Well, Holy Father has been inviting us. He has through the synod that has started last year, will be in one stage, completed October 2023. And the main purpose of this synod is listening, listening with heart. And if you see the main 3 words that say participation, you see the mission, and you see communion. So 3 words. And with these 3 words, what does it mean for us? It does mean that you will listen to people where you have not listened before. And so that the voice of the voiceless, voice of the unheard be motivating you, inspiring you, because every single person has something to give, and every single person has the need of receive. So in that idea, so it is a kind of a both way. We are giving and we are taking.
Yeah.
So Holy Father is inviting us the communication, participation, and mission, so that we are more giving time to listen to people who do not have chance to speak out or do not have chance to come before the leaders sometimes. So I have been a fortunate member of the central committee in our archdiocese with our archbishop. We had the opening, and after the opening we have been sitting with different professional groups to listen to them. One of the participants once said, "This is the first time I came to Archbishop Sasu. This is the first time I ate with my Archbishop in the same table, and also it is the first time that my points were
Considered.
given importance. Given importance. So they were so happy. So we have covered so many professional groups, doctor, nurses, businessmen, NGO workers, and also the people who work in the shop, small traders, vendors. So I think that has been very rich kind of insights and learning for us, and also bringing people together
Yeah.
for ownership, participation, and also spread the gospel news.
Yeah, correct. And I think that's also what has happened in the Philippines when, like farmers, our small fishers were able to talk personally with their bishop, and that's the first time that they've ever experienced something like that. And I think for the first time for many of for our lay faithful, this is the first time that the church has truly listened to whatever that they have to say. And as a church, we are very thankful that the Holy Father was able to have this opportunity, to give us this opportunity of listening into our communities. Dr. Alo, thank you very much for sharing us your time and your insights also. And we are hoping that we will be able to talk with you again in several of our meetings with Caritas Asia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much for this opportunity to speak to you and through you to people in the Philippines and also elsewhere. I'm very, very happy, and as I said that we can learn from anyone and everyone. So we will continue to learn, we will continue to share, and we will grow together so that we can be effective in our mission.
Yes, correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for continuing to shed light. That's your name, right?
Yes, Alo means light.
For shedding light to and inspiration to the whole of the Caritas Asia Confederation. Thank you very much. We have Dr. Alo Di Rosario of the Caritas Asia. He is our regional president, and in the coming days, we are hoping to have more of Caritas Asia programs in our program here at Caritas News on the Go.
Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's news and public affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide. Live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the Go.
Another Caritas member organization from Asia is with us this morning. Good morning, Dr. Richard Chi. I'm hoping that I'm getting it right. From Caritas Myanmar. Good morning and welcome to Caritas Philippines.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, what is a medical doctor doing in the field of social work?
Especially when I became the medical doctor, my interest is more on the rural people, no? So most of my time I serve as a rural doctor for almost decades. So that's a very basic why I become the social workers. No? I see the people suffering, so that I thought that, oh, I shouldn't just invest myself in the medical fee. I can go broader. Then I become a social worker.
Wow! And lucky for Caritas Myanmar and Caritas, the whole Caritas Confederations that you're with us, you have been working for the safeguarding committee at the regional level. Why is this important?
Because when you look at the development fee, no, we can say that you can build all the development for 10 years, but when with one mistakes and one risk that we take, and you have abolished all these long investment which has happened in the development. So when you look at the safeguarding, the same thing, no? Safeguarding is more like protecting and managing the risk. So while you are working on the positive side to build up the people, build up the community with the development intervention, at the same time you have to address the risk and you have to protect yourself, safeguard yourself so that you don't lose the long and rich investment you make in the development. So this interests me in the safeguarding.
And how does it relate with localization?
Um, Again, most of the sufferings are with these poor local communities. So the local communities have not that much capacity to cope up with all the risks and everything. So equipping them, capacitating them, let them able to manage the risks that we are facing. By doing so, I think they can better build their life, make their life a future brighter. So that's why safeguarding and localizations are connected.
Um, i- o- with safeguarding and then localization, how do you do this also or implement this in Caritas Myanmar?
In Caritas Myanmar, our mandate is to reach out to the people in the remotest area. So we call it the localization to the grassroots. No? So when you say localization, we don't just stop at the local NGOs and local CSO. We try to reach out and convey that message and this principle and concept to the grassroots community, who are the key decision makers. So we really empower, bring the decision and power down to the grassroots people, and when they hold that powers and make and decide their lives on their own, this is the real localization.
That's very good to know, Dr. Richard. And especially now that in most cases, like in the Philippines, when we had our synodal process, one of the things that came about is that the church has failed to listen to its people. How do you do this in Caritas Myanmar?
As we are working and focusing with the people from the remotest area, I think this is already in the church DNA, no? So we don't just do the top-down implementation of the project. When we want to start something, when we want to go to any new areas, we really try to meet with the people and build a relationship with them, trying to understand the situation. So by having that strong relationship and trust building, I think things are automatically follow. No? We don't need to prepare a special program designing session. Talk to them and you can listen and you can hear from them. So they will talk what they are facing, they will share their dreams, they will share their aspiration. So based on that, we prepare the design. So for the Caritas Confederation members, including Caritas Myanmar, I think this is not a strange thing. No? This is already part of the DNA of our Confederation members.
And when you say that you have been, this is part of the DNA, was there any change in how Caritas Myanmar, for example, implements its programs or identify its priorities with regards to really listening to the people or whatever that came about after listening?
You know, development is quite a diverse area, no? You name it, you have so many topics in development. So instead of specialization, for example, in health, education, things, we just make it very generic and general. So the community, as we said, is we are the people as a whole. So you cannot divide the people, health component, education component, livelihood.
Yeah.
Because they embrace all those things in one as a human person as a whole. So we just listen to them. So they are facing so many difficulty in all those areas, but among those, as we talk, they came to know what should they be prioritizing. So based on the priority, we follow their direction. No? So we just, as I mentioned again, we don't make any top-down things. So this is a very unique experience. We talk to them, we listen to them, and when they come up with a priority, we follow the priority.
And now, what is the priority of Caritas Caritas Myanmar?
At the moment, yes, because of this, we call it the double crisis. Crisis. The one is COVID, and another one is coup. People are really trying to survive. So resiliency, back to back with the safeguarding, is the most priority issue for our people as far as we understand.
But how do you also communicate with the government, especially with the current political situation?
For us, it's a little bit difficult because we are, compared to the government, not very powerful.
Yeah.
For it, I think, we approach to our bishop conferences, we approach our bishops to try to articulate about the people suffering. No? So through them, we give the message, signal to our current de facto government at this point in time.
And that has become like, has it become easier, or it has become more difficult to do that over time?
We try to stay away from those party politics and all those conflicting party biases and aligning, siding. So we purely focus on the people suffering, and also the Bishop Conference stand is to purely focus on the people suffering, but we have to talk to these people concerned, or party concerned, why they shouldn't make the people suffering more. So being based on this humanity, I think is still able to continue our programs and services in those areas. So that's one of the areas we stand as a church.
But this is not happening publicly. I mean, the articulation of your concern for the welfare of the people. Does this happen like you announce it openly to the masses or to social media, like what is happening in the Philippines, or you do this like in closed doors with meetings with the government?
Our philosophy is, as long as the people we serve know our intention, our goodwill, I think that's enough. So people carry the message from word of mouth, so that's a job, no? Especially in this time of sensitivity, we don't go very much on the public social media, which is double SWAT, double edge of the SWAT situation.
Correct.
It will be good, it will be bad. So we don't very much rely on the social media, but we rely on our services. So those people who receive our services convey the message and spread their through their colleagues and through their connections.
Okay. And then lastly, Dr. Richard, what's your message of hope or of solidarity to the people of Myanmar, and then also here in the Philippines, where we experience the same struggle, the same difficulties?
I think in quite a number of instances we follow the people power movement, no? Which is very powerful. So we learn not directly, so through our learning through our colleagues in the Caritas Philippines and some of the Filipino friends that we encounter. So the people power is the main important thing. So you don't need to go for any violence, no? Which is not the church ways of working. We are against any violence in the situation. We don't support the violence. But our ways of working is we focus on the people, the humanity, and also we people about their suffering. So we always keep the spirit of solidarity, option for the poor. At the same time, those resources entrusted to us, we keep them with the spirit of good stewardship. No? So by adhering to these Catholic social teachings, I think we are still moving forward in this most difficult situation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Richard G, for being with us at Caritas Philippines and then for doing this interview with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much again. Nakasama po natin Dr. Richard G, the former Executive Director of Caritas Myanmar. This is, again, Caritas News on the Go.
Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's News and Public Affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide, live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the go.
Pangarap ko po ang maging sundalo paglaki ko para matulungan ko po ang mga pamilya ko.
Isa lamang si John Mark sa 502 na batang academically challenged na natutulungan natin sa Alay sa Kabataan Educational Assistance Program ng Caritas Philippines.
Liban sa suporta sa kanilang tuition fees, binibigyan din natin ang ating scholars ng allowance para sa school supplies, wifi load at pamasahe.
Ngunit bakit nga ba kakaiba at natatangi ang ating Alay sa Kabataan program?
Itong programa ng Caritas Philippines ay napakaganda dahil nga tinutulungan yung mga slow learners natin dahil karamihan yung mga pribileyo ay naibibigay sa mga matatalino, sa mga magagaling at sa mga bright students natin.
Ang ganda kasi kadalasan yung pag marinig natin scholar 85 pataas yung grade. Pero dito sa program na Caritas Philippines, yung 80 below.
Pangarap nating makapagtapos ang bawat batang Pilipino, kaya't ipagpatuloy natin ang ating pagmamalasakit, pagbabahagi at pag-aalay kapwa.
Bagyo, lindol, volcanic eruption, pagbaha, at iba pang mga delubyo at kalamidad. Ilan lamang ito sa mga hirap na kinakaharap natin dala ng climate emergency at planetary crisis. O marahil, dala ng ating kapabayaan. Dahil pinayagan natin ang walang puknat na pagmimina, illegal logging at quarrying, coal at fossil fuel operations. Sinira natin ang karagatan dahil sa basura at illegal fishing. Maging ang ating coral reef ay namamatay na rin. Subalit may pag-asa pa kung tayo ay magtutulungan. Ipagtanggol natin ang karapatan ng kalikasan. Ipaglaban natin ang ating nag-iisang tahanan. Samahan ninyo kami sa Caritas Philippines sa ating pag-aalay sa kalikasan.
Caritas News on the Go, the Social Action Network's News and Public Affairs online show featuring national newsmakers and our team Caritas from the 85 social action centers nationwide, live at Caritas Philippines social media channels, Fridays 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. Caritas News on the Go.
We are still live at the Caritas Philippines Development Centers where the Caritas Asia regional meetings are happening. And today we are being joined by our colleague from Caritas Bangladesh, the Executive Director himself, Dr. Father. Mr. Sebastian Rosario, because we have been talking with fathers and doctors for the last several days. Sebastian, good morning and welcome to Caritas Philippines.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
For your time.
Perfect. Is this your several times to the Philippines?
This is my third time, but I remember only the second time.
And why is that?
It
You're so
was
young when
in-
you're the first
no,
time
no.
that came?
First time I came for CIMS coordinators meeting. I don't remember the year. And the second time I came in 2019 for a 4 months diploma in EAPI. Then this is
Today.
the last time. I'm
Yes.
here.
The last time, no, this would not be the last time that we will be coming to the Philippines. But
Okay.
anyway, the Caritas Asia regional meetings are talking about several other things, and most importantly, in ensuring that we are also strengthening the coordination and cooperation mechanisms within or and between the Caritas member organizations. How do you see this?
I see this cooperation coordination is always a very essential and important part of any kind of response. When we are together, we are very strong. We can learn from each other, then we can apply the learnings in the field. Our mission is to help and support the poor people, the deprived people and marginalized people, men and women. And in doing so, we have been working so many years. As Caritas Bangladesh, we are working last 50 years, but we don't see much improvement and change in the lives of the people. That's why I always encourage we need to have a model, a common model for whole country, whole region, which will bring real change in the lives of the people.
But what kind of model would that be?
That could be with regard to education, social awareness, training, development, and the professional way of managing the disaster, cyclones, any kind of natural calamities, and also for the community and harmony in the society. In Bangladesh, we have major 4 religious people. We are living in harmony, but still we need to be more open to each other.
It's interesting that you mentioned about the church being able to respond or looking for ways to be able to respond better to the needs of our communities, because like for example here in the Philippines, that's also the I think one of the main results of the synod that we are doing. But do you think the Catholic Church also in Bangladesh has at some point failed to foresee or to how we can do this more effectively?
I will not say failed. Catholic Church failed to see or foresee the future. On the other hand, they are actually forcing us to be visionary, to look far front and to think and plan as a visionary for the country, for the people. And we are tiny Catholics or Christian in Bangladesh, but our role in the fields of education, health, and social work, and any of these emerging areas are very high, significant we have. Even at the beginning of Caritas Bangladesh, Caritas was lead in the NGO communities. And also the church is leading in the community, because church is always reflecting on the social teaching of Catholic Church, and then they are motivating others. With regard to dialogue with the other religious people, church is always ahead of everybody.
You also have sort of an academy in Bangladesh that's under also the Caritas Bangladesh. Can you also describe to us how these operates?
Actually, this academy, we call it is a training center of Caritas Bangladesh. So Caritas Development Institute. It has 2 parts. One is the research and development, and another part is to train the people who work in Caritas and also in other NGOs. We call partner NGOs. So the capacity development of the partners employees are the prime objective of this institute. Nowadays, we are also offering the trainings to other people, outsiders. Also the priests, nuns of the parishes and dioceses, they also take part in the training. This is I would say the place where people can be built, can be strengthened to work more better for the people in the local area.
And how also the center influence your, for example, policy making or the decision making of Caritas Bangladesh in terms of prioritizing also the programs that you will be implementing?
The training center, it is also a research institute. That's why conducting the research, they identifies the gaps and areas to improve, intervene. They provide support and report to the Caritas management. We bring it to the policymakers, to the bishops, to the general body, and then they actually guide us how and where do we need to go.
Okay. Another issue that we are very interested to know about in Bangladesh is the Rohingya crisis. How is it now?
Rohingya crisis, although our government is now, since the beginning, has been demanding return of these Rohingya people, but they are last 4 years in Bangladesh. We are taking care of them with the help of Caritas member organizations and as well as the UN agencies. Bangladesh government does not recognize them as a refugee, so the government is not fully responsible. We call they are displaced people of Myanmar. They are here in Bangladesh. We are taking care of their food, their livelihoods, and their shelters. As Caritas Bangladesh, we are settling their shelter. We are helping for their shelter repair, and we are also helping for children and adolescent girls and women so that they are in a safe place. We are ensuring their protection. Since they are in a hilly area, we also work for the site improvement so that there is no landslides, no deaths are there.
But how the crisis has affected your the political situation in Bangladesh?
The crisis is really I would say protected crisis. We cannot implement any development work there. We can also give the relief work. So far the fund flow from the donors are available. We can be of their help. We are working with the UNHCR. You might already know that some of the Rohingya people have been shifted to an island, isolated island, far in the Bay of Bengal. At the beginning, there was a demand from UN agencies there should be an independent assessment of the risk on the island. Later on, government was really trying to relocate some people, and Caritas, as a church organization, from the beginning with the fund from church, we have to be there because when the people is hungry, we have to feed them. So we are there with the food, and we see that the Rohingya people are living in a better condition in the camps. They were used to stay in a confined zone in Myanmar, and also from the sharing of other donor organizations, we know that in other countries the camps are not so well organized, which is in Bangladesh was possible. We are always improving their living condition there.
So by and large, especially in terms of how Caritas Bangladesh is implementing the programs, how do you also integrate humanitarian responses, which are short-term, to long-term development frameworks or programs?
For the Rohingya?
And for all the other programs?
Rohingyas, government does not allow any long-term intervention, so we are only responding short-term. Emergency support we are providing.
But how long do you see that you'll be responding?
So long they are there.
Okay, so
we'll be responding.
Okay.
Even if the government does not allow the development approach there and development projects, long-term projects, but we gradually starting some of the livelihood activities there, like they are planting trees, vegetable gardening, and also poultry rearing they are doing. We are also teaching them vocational training so that whenever they go back, they are capable to work, to earn. And also for the children, we are also trying to give them education in their own language.
Oh, okay. So, going back to your own programs for your own people, how do you do integration?
In the cycle of our approach, Caritas started with the disaster actually. In 1970, there was a huge cyclone, super cyclone, and about 500,000 people died. And since then, Caritas actually worked for the disaster impacted people. Our approach is to first support with the emergency needs, then recovery activities, and then we also work for the rehabilitation and also this long-term development. That is the development project. Started with the emergency support, then we operate recovery projects, recovery activities, then livelihoods, and then long-term development, so that the people become independent. They are no longer dependent on any of the support or services from the NGOs or government. So that is our approach. So we always integrate from one to another.
Is there any particular program or initiative that you were able to do with Caritas Philippines in the past? Or it was just only like the usual coordination that we have? Because I know the communications team of Caritas Bangladesh and Caritas Philippines are very, we have been working together for a lot of times already.
Actually, in Caritas Milio, we always learn from each other. We work in collaboration with each other. We learn from each other. You know, many of the priests, they claim that the Philippines is their second home.
Oh,
Because they come
thank
here,
you.
they go to the university here. Likewise, I also attended one diploma course in the Philippines for 4 months, and I also felt it's my home. So learning from each other is a good way of working, not in the field of practically financially support, but in the knowledge sharing, capacity development, and knowledge building.
Which is the resource and then
resource
the
sharing.
treasure that we
Yeah.
have to share. Yeah. with
Now
each other.
I am in the academy, Caritas Philippines Academy. I have went through your trainings, so I am very much interested to how if Caritas Bangladesh staff can also participate some of the
Yes,
trainings,
correct.
online trainings, so that
Yes,
would be less
correct.
cost, less time consuming, but
Also
learning
equally effective.
equally
Yes,
effective,
correct.
yeah.
We did that with Caritas Malaysia for 6 months, and why not do it with Caritas Bangladesh?
That is my wish. as
Yes, your wish should be coming true anytime soon. Sebastian, thank you very much for this opportunity, and we are hoping to have you again in the program for the coming months or years. And advance happy anniversary on your 50th Jubilee anniversary. Advance happy anniversary.
Thank you, Jing, for this interview, and I will also invite Caritas Philippines and the EU team, to the celebration in November 12, 2022.
That's November 12th.
November 12, yeah.
12,
That will be
oh.
the closing. We have celebrated in the whole country during last 1 year. So we are going to close it in November.
Hey,
Thank
again,
you so much.
advance happy anniversary. Nakasama po natin Mr. Sebastian Rosario, the Executive Director of Caritas Bangladesh. And this is again Caritas News on the Go. Thank you very much for watching. After Caritas Asia, we will be having next week for our episode, our social action directors will be taking the executive course for them and for the whole social action network. I am Jean Ray Henderson, and this is Caritas News on the Go.
Ang Alay Kapwa para sa Katarungan at Kapayapaan ay ang kabuuan at layunin ng Episcopal Commission on Social Action, Justice and Peace. Ang layunin ng katarungan at kapayapaan ay tanggalin ang di makatarungang istruktura sa lipunan. Nakikita natin sa pamagitan ng paglabag sa dangal at karapatan ng mamamayan at kalikasan na nagdudulot ng kahirapan at paghihirap ng mga tao at nagpapatuloy ng di pagkapantay-pantay sa lipunan, kapangyarihan, pamahalaan at pakitungo sa kapwa. Bilang programa, kasama sa Alay para sa Katarungan ang mabuting pamamahala o good governance, isang halagang parte para sa panlipunang katarungan or social justice. Ang diin ng programa ay upang itaguyod at ipatupad ang dignidad o dangal at karapatan ng mga tao sa pamamagitan ng pakikilahok sa pamamahala. At gusto din ng nito mag-ambag para sa pagbabago ng struktura, sistema na kaaya-aya o conducive para sa ikabubuti ng nakararami.
Dahil sa mataas na antas ng kahirapan sa Pilipinas, malaki ang suliranin sa kakulangan sa sapat na pagkain at kawalan ng sustainableng hanapbuhay. Hangad ng Caritas Philippines na matulungan ang iba't ibang sektor sa agrikultura upang mapataas ang produksyon at ani at maibenta ang produkto sa tamang halaga at merkado upang mapaunlad ang bawat pamilya at komunidad. Halina at sama-sama tayong maging bahagi ng pag-aalay para sa kabuhayan ng lahat ng nangangailangan at nasa kahirapan. Sapat na pagkain para sa kalusugan ng lahat at mayamang bukas.
Ang Pilipinas ay isa sa mga bansang nakakaranas ng iba't ibang kalamidad. Sa loob ng isang taon ay meron tayong humigit kumulang sa 20 bagyo na dumadaan sa ating bansa. Madalas ding mayroong pagguho ng lupa, malawakang baha, lindol, sunog at iba pa. Sa kasalukuyan ay mas pinalala pa ito dahil sa pandemya. Isa sa mga gawain ng Caritas Philippines ay ang pangunahan ang pagtugon ng mga pangangailangan ng naapektuhang kalamidad ng iba't ibang humanitarian crisis. Ang Caritas ay nagbibigay ayuda sa pamamagitan ng emergency relief assistance. Bukod sa emergency relief, nagbibigay rin tayo ng ayuda para sa early recovery ng mga komunidad na naapektuhan, tulad ng pagbibigay ng pabahay at kabuhayan. Kasama din dito ang iba't ibang capacity building and community organizing upang maihanda ang mga diocese at komunidad. Tayong lahat ay magkaisa, mag-alay kapwa para sa alay sa katugunan sa kalamidad.
Sa patuloy ninyong pagmamalasakit, pagbabahagi at pag-alay kapwa, may napakain tayong 1,757 individuals na nanggagaling sa 300 families from Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Ang pamilya program ay hindi lang po natin bubusugin ang tiyan ng ating mga tinutulungan, mga pamilya, kung hindi bubusugin din natin ang kanilang isip at puso. Dahil sa pamilya feeding program, ang mga kapamilya na tinutulungan natin ay lumalalim ang kanilang pananampalataya, pakipag-ugnayan sa kapwa at pagmamalasakit sa lipunan. Nang dahil sa inyo, ang mga kapwa natin ay nabusog, nabigyan ng pag-asa at may maliwanag na bukas. Through pamilya programs, stomachs are fed, hearts are full, souls are nourished. Taos-puso kaming nagpapasalamat sa lahat lahat ng mga kapamilya natin na nagmalasakit, nagbahagi at nag-alay kapwa.
Simula 2016, mahigit 500 social action workers na ang nabigyan ng Caritas Philippines Academy ng iba't ibang capacity development program. Katulong ang Development Academy of the Philippines at Future by Design Pilipinas. Nagawa natin ang 14-month certificate course na Lead to Heal Transformational Development Program. Sa pakikipag-partner natin sa Asian Social Institute, nagkaroon tayo ng Masteral Course on Social Services and Development. Mahigit 15 modular courses din ang naisagawa natin kahit sa gitna ng COVID-19 pandemic. At Caritas Philippines Academy, we develop church leaders and professionals with a heart.
Bilang National Secretariat ng 85 Social Action Centers, inatasan ang Caritas Philippines na pamahalaan ang pondo para sa iba't ibang mga programa nito. Dahil dito, kinakailangan nating siguruhin na hindi lamang tama at napapanahon ang implementasyon ng ating mga programa. Kailangan din ang masinop at naayon sa widely acceptable financial management standards ang paggamit ng ating mga pondo. Dahil gusto namin kapag nagbigay kayo ng pondo sa Caritas Philippines, panatag ang loob ninyong napupunta sa tama at nagagamit sa wasto ang bawat sentimong inyong
mula sa Simbahan Katoliko at Caritas Philippines.
Mula sa 85 Diocesan Social Action Centers sa buong bansa at mula sa libu-libong mga komunidad at mga pamilyang Pilipino.
Ang aming taos-pusong pasasalamat sa inyong pag-aalay kapwa.